Hi there, and welcome to this week's Thinking Thursday with me, Peter O'Donoghue, for the 15th of June 2023. So, as I've said before, welcome, and my aim is to help you increase your revenue and profit in your consulting business, and it's to compel you to think, to entertain, and hopefully provide some clarity without the stuffy BS that seems to be the norm in consulting content. So enjoy. If you're watching me read this newsletter out to you, then obviously that's where this will be. So my tip for this week of the Thinking newsletter is how to find light in the dark. So my personal trick to breaking out of a slump. So personally, last Friday, I found myself in a mental slump. For me, it was a period of mental fuzziness and lack of inner drive. And I guess maybe you get these too. Maybe I'm not the only person that gets these. I got the grey hairs, figuratively and metaphorically. I've been around a fair while, and I found like it really hits me hard, but I know I'm not alone. I know other people get these. And I've learned over the years to ease up on myself. Life isn't 100% grinding and peak productivity, the nirvana portrayed by social media. There are times where you have to alternate your schedule to your natural energy levels and moods and mental capacity. So for me, last Friday, I was definitely having a mental fog. So what I did, I swapped out my usual high energy tasks that I had planned for that day for something lighter, which was revamping a website. It just happens to be this one, the peterodonoghue.com one that I'm putting some work into. So, and specifically 1 or 2 pages on that. Now, I'll be honest with you, I didn't expect the change of pace to be momentous. That it'd just be a brief distraction and let me focus on something else, and then I could replan and hit back on with my high activities. But as I waded through the website's content, I stumbled upon an old treasure trove that I'd almost forgotten about, which was my collection of case studies and testimonials. And when I say stumbled, some of them I really had to go hunting for, so much so that I'd actually deleted some websites for some years back, and I had to go through there's an internet archive of web pages. So I even had to go back and find them via that internet archive, plus things stored on my hard drive. So started building up again a collection of case studies and testimonials and emails that people had sent me spanning years and years. And in fact, there's one where there's one past client who's been a client in three or four different businesses over the span of about 10 years, and in fact with 2 different of my businesses, so much as the trust there. And as I started to read them one after another, the words of appreciation, the tales of how I'd positively impacted their business, the endorsements, just the small nice things that they said, it started to chip away at that kind of inner feeling of self-doubt that I had that day. Who knows where it came from? These things happen. I kind of long figured, stop trying to work out how these things happen and just notice and deal with them as I can. So, it was an invigorating trip down memory lane for me, remembering the excitement of solving these complex challenges, the satisfaction of providing real tangible value for these people, and just the sheer joy of seeing my clients succeed because of the collaboration of our working partnership. So, as my day went on Friday, my self-inflicted slump began to crack. Its power weakened on me. And with each testimony I read, I found myself gradually stepping away from that doubt towards a more confident and content place. And actually, this was really rediscovering an old hack of mine. So diving into my past successes when I feel low, it proved to be a potent reminder that I have much to offer. It helped to remember that I'm not defined by my low days, and I'm defined by the consistent value I've delivered over the years. And I used to rigorously recommend this to clients. Even in my own days when I had a sales training business and I grew sales teams, you would get salespeople to read client testimonials and case studies first thing in the morning before they hit the phones or hit their activities for the day. Same with the consultants. I get them to do that. But like all things, I used to do it myself, but just kind of, you create habits that are doing really good things for you, but then you let them slip. and you let them slip, as I've let the gym slip for a little while. Those type of things. So my top tip for you is, if you haven't already done so, document, because you can't do this without document them, is go on a hunt and an expedition to document and then read your successes and your positive feedback. Read that every day as part of your journaling or your gratitude process, or miracle morning, whatever that process is for you, and just do that every single day. It'll keep you energized and in touch with your contribution to your clients and society. Don't wait for the slump, as I did, whereas if you do it every day, it'll keep your inner belief high. And here's one that was an unsolicited one, just in a Facebook group that I was in with other people a couple of years back, from Scott, and that touched my heart at the time. So sharing this personal experience is, in my way, my attempt to extend this virtual hand to anyone else who might find that they have these periods of self-doubt or just not feeling 100% on the game, like I was Friday. So, and if you really want to see these, why I was collecting this positive feedback, click this link here, scroll down to the bottom of the page, and you'll see I've put some of them on that page. There's a reason. Click on the link and you'll see, and you'll be able to understand why I was doing it. So humor, the humor part of thinking. So a little large consulting house focused joke today. So I saw this was I picked up on a Reddit, and I loved this. So this was, as someone posted, legit, just saw this on LinkedIn. So it's a picture of someone's LinkedIn profile where they were working track history at McKinsey for 4 years and 9 months. Their first job, associate, making pretty slides fast. Progress to engagement manager, making other people make pretty slides fast. And then progress to associate partner. So convincing clients that pretty slides will lead to real impact. I love it. That made me chuckle. So much so that I did actually answer a thread in Reddit this same week where someone posted, I'm going for an interview for an internal consulting move into another division of the consulting company that I'm with, and they've asked me to put together a 2-page PowerPoint, and everyone was answering how to put this PowerPoint together. I mean, God, the amount of data that they would have had on this here. So I replied saying, look, if I was you and you had the balls, go in with no PowerPoints, talk about your story, use metaphors, paint the vision of what you can do for the business, and tell them that they can get software nowadays for $20 a month that will create PowerPoint slides for you. But probably sure that person won't go and do that, but that's what I would have done. Okay, so insight. So the visible expert model. So below is one of my visual thought leadership models that I'm finishing off at the moment. I'm toying with naming it the solution innovation quadrant for consulting offers, where we have 2 axes: stable cash flow, second axis, high network or high skills in sales. And that's what we're looking at here. So the stable solvers are high in a consistent, predictable cash flow. Innovation leaders who are high in stable cash flow and a high degree of networking or sales skills. So there's a lot to take into that. I give you a brief overview here, but it starts off with, so what if the secret to a breakthrough consulting offer was not creating a breakthrough consulting offer? Have a think about that one. So lots of the solo consultants and small boutique firms I'm talking to at the moment are making their lives far more complicated than they need to be, and are in fact risking the very survival of their business. They're prioritizing innovation over building a strong foundation of business growth and success, and for no real reason. And an example of this that I've seen quite a lot recently is trying to create an offer that the market hasn't shown they will buy, or worse, that the market doesn't even know they need. And often this can be as a response to increased competition or changing buyer behavior, where clients are demanding more for less. But sadly, I see this a lot recently. And I'm not saying don't create innovation in consulting offers, but really there's 2 key things you need to have before you even look at innovation: a consistent cash flow, a network of the right people to buy the innovative consulting offers, or the right sales skills to go out and sell an innovative consulting offer. And the quadrant is all about looking at where are you in those quadrants, and no quadrant is better than the other. Obviously, the better, apart from, if you are in one of those ones with higher predictable cash flow, you stand a better chance of success in your consulting business, and you have more room for innovation. And I kind of talk about it a little bit more, but if that's piqued your interest, definitely click here. In fact, I'll go and do it now, because I go into the model in a lot more detail, and I break it down what to do at each stage of the innovation quadrant. Okay, cool. So now on to the new part of the Thinking newsletter. So an AI-powered writer. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by the onslaught of new AI-led writing tools, then you might want to dip your foot in the water with something that has what I call stabilizers for a while. And that's where I think this new service is, which is called Oasis. Essentially, it's an AI-powered writer. Two key differentiators. One, you're presented with just a flat screen with a picture of a microphone in the middle. You click the mic and then you talk at it. And it then transcribes and deciphers what you're saying, and it then creates its own briefs. So, you don't need to become what we call a prompt engineer. And secondly, it has a series of predefined outputs which keep it simple. So there are no prompts for you to master. So I think it's quite a good starting point for writing with AI assistance. It's about $12 or 12 quid a month, something like that. It's a good starting point. You get a certain amount of free credits, so you can go and try it out. I personally don't use it. I've tried it out, but I've been aiming to master ChatGPT since the very day it launched. I was using, the underlying AI model, OpenAI Labs before that. So, and in fact, inside this club, I've got a mini course on leveraging virtual employees created using AI to create content, to create consulting briefs, to pitch decks, to run your consulting projects, your SWOT analysis, your market research, everything. So have a look at Oasis. If you get using that one with stabilizers and you feel, okay, you need to step up, then have a look at Insiders and have a look at the AI for B2B consulting course in there. If you're already at that stage, then jump in and have a look at that course. So, okay, the knowledge. So the book that I'm looking at in this week's newsletter is Knowledge. Will by Will Smith. Now you might be thinking, well, hang on, it's got nothing to do with consulting. But I love this book. So there's so many life lessons in this delightful and engaging autobiography. So yes, Will has had a hard time over the last couple of years, but I mean, come on, who hasn't? And look, we're all human. Who am I to judge, what's happened? He's led and almost an exemplary career over spanning 30 years. I really don't care what he's done in the last 1 or 2 years. I listen to it on Audible, so I don't have the full notes that I usually keep via Amazon Kindle and Readwise. So everything is actually in the newsletter rather than linking off. But so for me, this is a story of pain, dedication, and also strategy and vision. So Will came from a hard background with a father of 2 who at one point he openly admits it flashed through his mind about killing his father. You need to read or listen to the book to understand the context there. But in his upbringing, there was love there. For all his dad's faults, he drove to create discipline in Will to enable him to create his own way in life and a successful way in life. And there's a beautiful segment in the book that spans quite a few areas where his dad made him build a wall around the car park of the store that they had to teach him a lesson on discipline. And one of Will's quotes there is, look, stop thinking about the damn wall when Will rebelled against it. He said, there is no wall. There are only bricks. Your job is to lay this brick perfectly. Then move on to the next brick. Then lay that brick perfectly. Then the next one. Don't be worrying about no wall. Your only concern is one brick. And I'll leave it for you to draw your connections between that and life and consulting and business. For me, it touches a little bit. I had a very different but similar experience in my early teens. So my dad wouldn't dole out pocket money to me and my brother, but if we went out and earned our own money, he doubled it. So he gave us an incentive to go out and be self-sufficient that way. And I learned a lot. The story of my parents are, lots of stories there. I owe them a huge amount. So when Will was breaking into films, he set his goal to be the #1 box office movie star. Not just an actor, the #1 box office movie star. So he and his agent researched the marketplace, broke down the story arc and commonality of the latest blockbuster movies. So in effect, he did a consulting cluster analysis of his marketplace. And what they found is 10 out of the 10 last blockbusters had special effects. 9 out of the 10 had special effects with an alien story. 8 out of the 10 had special effects with creatures and a love story. So they set a goal to get Will cast in a film with these characteristics. And they even turned down there's one specific high-paying film role that he mentions, which was paid about, I think it was 4 or 5 times the film he eventually starred in, where he was a sort of a baddie gangster. And they refused to do it, even though it was a very, very lucrative, or they turned it down, rather refused, even though it was a very, very lucrative offer, because it would have impacted and reduced the chances of him getting the roles it set out to do to help him reach his career trajectory. And the rest is history. Smith stuck to his guns, painted the vision, did it. He was in Independence Day, Men in Black, I, Robot, and I Am Legend, and many, many more. So for me, I thought it was a beautiful book that crosses business, life, parenting, and personal development. So buy the book, and also buy the Audible to hear the passion and emotion that Will injects when he's telling the story. So he talks about his nan as well as being a really positive influence in his life. And the way he describes it is very, very touching. So read the book. You can click this image here or this link here. That will take you to Amazon to get the book as well. So that's it. The newsletter has officially finished. So there's a little bit more, which is my behind the scenes. If you're reading this, you can just crack on and read that if you like. That's my deep dive insights, a little bit about what I'm doing, the building in public. So this is Peter O'Donoghue for the Thinking newsletter, signing off, and speak soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.